Hey y'all, welcome to Quarantining with Teague, Episode 2, dealing with one-point perspective in the 200 building hallway. So at this point, you should have, please forgive the sound of running water in the back. I'm recording in my dining room and my wife's doing dishes. So that's just how life is going to go. So it's cool. So at this point, you should have something that looks relatively close to this. It's going to be different depending on where your vanishing point is. If you were laying down, your vanishing point's going to be here. If you were standing up real tall, it's going to be up there. That all depends. But for this good center view, you would be dealing with something that looks like this. Now, your job at this point is to go in and you're going to start dealing with some of these out-jutting pillars. Whoa, that was loud. Sorry about that. Some of these out-jutting pillars that are coming through. We're going to start working on the lockers that you're going to find either on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. We're also going to deal with the pillars that are jutting out or like doorways or entryways. This is actually the entryway to the boys and girls restroom in the 200 building. So depending on which part of the hallway you're looking at, you're going to be seeing different things. So let's start off specifically with the lockers. So when you're dealing with the lockers, there's going to be areas that you're going to have to erase. So the first thing that you're going to see in this picture is, since we're dealing with one-point perspective, we're really going to focus on the front face of the locker coming in like this, and we're looking at how this locker is jutting out from this corner coming across. So I've got the corner of my hallway, so that means that I've got to come in and I've got to draw how that locker or that group of lockers are jutting out. So I'm going to draw the bottom edge here. These lockers are going to go straight up and down like this. And then close to the top, I've got a little bit of a triangular shape. It's not a perfect triangle, it's a little bit off, but it doesn't go all the way up to the top. Now, looking at this, if I'm comparing this shape to this shape, this is a little bit more of an angle than I might necessarily want, but for now, that's going to totally work. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to erase this extra line, and I'm going to go in and erase these extra lines coming through. Because what I've done, I've really lucked out. I've got this line coming up to that corner, and this line is intersecting in to this line coming back, all the way back to that vanishing point. So that's already lined up the way that I want. Now I'm going to focus on this corner. All of my straight lines always go back to the vanishing point. So I'm going to line this up, and that's going to go back like that. I'm going to stop right here because I know that's going to stop in front of the window. Now that I've got this line going back, I'm going to come in and I'm going to look at this corner. This corner comes down, and this goes back like so. Now remember, back edge is always parallel to the front edge. So I'm going to look at the front edge of this locker here. That lines up like that. I'm just going to slide this back, slide this back, slide this back, slide this back, until I see this corner that I wanted to stop. That's going to get drawn up like that, which means that this little line is extra, and I can erase it. This line here is going to be extra, and I can erase it. This line, the back edge is always parallel to the front edge. This line comes in like this. I'm just going to slide this down, slide this down, slide this down until I hit right there. Now I'll come in and I'll erase these extra lines. And I've got the basic shape of my lockers jutting out into this hallway. Now, if I go and I look at my photo, I've got halfway down from here to here, I've got that division of these two lockers coming in, and then I've got the portals of where the locks are, those little indentations. So I'm going to come to this front face and I'm going to find the approximation of the halfway mark, the top and the bottom, and is going to divide that in. Where am I going to connect this? Back to my vanishing point. I'm going to come back in. Once I hit that back edge, I'm going to stop that. Right here, back to this vanishing point. That comes back like that. Now I can see that division coming in. When I go in and I look at my lockers, I really can't see that top and the bottom. That acts as the top and the bottom. So that's good. So now I've got to get this indentation and these indentations coming in. I'm going to mark that in by just drawing the first line here and the first line here. I'm going to connect the top and the bottom of both of those lines to my vanishing point very, very lightly, because I'm going to be erasing the majority of these lines. So I know that the indentations here are going to be on that axis. The indentations here are going to be on this axis. And then I'll go in and I'll say, okay, so I'm going to start drawing these individual lockers. The further back I go, the closer the spacing is. Same as with the floors. Same as with the ceiling tiles. We want to play with that illusion of placement and proportion, because the closer we make these, the more we're going to exaggerate that sense of depth and space. Our soup is ready. The Instant Pot is beeping, beeping, beeping. This is just an evening of quarantine at the Teague household. And then when I look at these, this is where I'm going to go in and I'm going to start drawing the individual locks coming through. I just know that as I'm drawing these locks inside of this little square, it's just going to get smaller and smaller the further back that I go. That's what these lines show, is it shows me the parameters. Now, this is all well and good for when you see the front face of the lockers. But what about these lockers here? I don't see any front face. I don't see any front face back on this back edge like that. There's no front face to go on. So if I were to draw these lockers over on this side, what I'd do is I'd actually look at, if this is my corner, and we'll get to this jut here in a second, but if this is my corner, I'm looking at how the top of this locker comes off of that and goes straight down. So if this is my corner here, the top of that hits right here, juts out, and then goes straight down. I'm going to draw this side straight up and down so that it's a little bit off, so that it's parallel to this line here. Once I draw that line down, I need to look and I need to see where that corner is going to be, and I just want it to be out further than this corner. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to go ahead and put a dot right there, and I'm going to connect that back to my vanishing point so that this comes in like so. Then I can go in and then I can start erasing these extra lines so that I have built this locker coming in like that. I've got this corner here. To build that ridge coming in, I'm going to connect this back to my vanishing point, going to this corner. Now look at what this is doing. Because this is closer, now this is starting to flare out. And if this comes out like this, I'm going to see this corner here. So I'm going to connect that to my vanishing point, and now I can actually see that top edge of the locker coming through. So this creates that illusion that the wall comes down, this comes out, this comes down like this. Now we're going in, finding that halfway mark on the top and on the bottom, connecting that to the vanishing point. This comes back like so. This comes back like so. And then I start drawing the individual lockers in here. Exact same process, except these now are getting bigger. And these are going to get so big that we're going to actually be able to see the indentations of where the locks are laying. So with that, I'm going to come over to these right here, and I'm going to draw the top and the bottom. I'll put a dot on the top and the bottom there. What am I going to do? I'm going to connect this back to my vanishing point. Very, very lightly, this comes in. Very, very lightly, this comes in. I can see that corner and that corner. And here's where my lock is going to rest, inside of each of these, going across all the way down. Now the last thing that I want to show you on this part is these pillars that are jutting out. So these corners right here, we're going to use those corners as being these corners inside of the walls. So this line right here is this line right here. So to create that pillar that's jutting out, we're going to come in right from this corner. I'm going to draw the tiniest line. Down from this corner, I'm going to draw the tiniest line. And then I'm going to draw a vertical line that goes straight up and down from each of those edges. This is going to end up being just this little itty bitty lip, this little bitty lip of the pillar. So right from this corner and from this corner, I'm going to draw a very, very short line that connects down to the vanishing point here, and up here, down to this vanishing point. And then I'm going to draw a line that goes straight up and down from there. And now I have created that little itty bitty lip, that little part of the pillar that juts out there. The last thing that you need to see is how to deal with these pillars that are like recessed back into a wall. So I'm talking about, like, if you're looking at Mr. Renard or Miss Mahendran's doors, or if you're looking at Miss Anderson's door, there's a few different places where you're going to see entryways that are coming in. Now, for this picture, you're actually looking at the bathrooms right here. So really quick, if you're looking at at the picture that shows the bathroom like that, I'm drawing a line that goes down to show this edge. I'm going to draw a horizontal line and a horizontal line here, and then the back edge of that. So now I've created the side of that wall. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to draw this back edge here that shows this edge of the wall. Then right on the inside, I've got to show that wall on the inside of the men's restroom that comes across like this, and the wall on the inside of the men's restroom that comes across like this. And now I've created that illusion that you can come in and walk inside of there, and that is an actual room. That's one thing, that's one problem you're going to have. Another type of pillar that you're going to deal with is going to have the front edge here, for sure. So I'm going to leave that here because that shows that there is a gap and that is the beginning of the wall. If this comes down like this, let's say I want to draw an actual pillar. So I'm going to draw, the first thing I'm going to draw is the corner of the wall. And then that wall is going to go back parallel to this. It's going to go back just a little bit. Straight across horizontal, straight across horizontal. Now we've got a pillar that goes straight up and down. This is that back edge, the farthest edge of that pillar. Then I'm going to draw, just map in this part here, so it's easy to see. Here's the front edge of that pillar. And then right here, we're going to draw this edge and this edge. And this is going to go straight up and down. And this is where you'd write room 209 or whatever room that is. And then right here, if that edge comes back like that, that goes back, and that goes back. And now I've created that illusion that there's a gap here between these walls, and then there's a pillar here. The last thing that you need to pay attention to is going to be your bricks. So you're going to go in and you're going to map in at the corner where your brick lines are going to go. You will connect those brick lines to your vanishing point, only drawing those on the walls that actually have bricks. So I'm skipping over the pillars here, and that goes down like that to that corner, and I'm going to go down like this. Each of those hatch marks, and you want to show a lot of bricks. There are hundreds of bricks on these walls. Just be diligent, be patient, connect those hatch marks back to your vanishing point. Make sure your ruler is going back to your vanishing point. Make sure you're using a ruler. Don't try to do this freehanding. And what you're going to end up getting is something that looks relatively close to this. And then you go in and you put your horizontal bricks in. But don't go down and just make a grid. Stagger it. Have one that goes like that, one that goes like that. Make a pattern with your bricks. Stagger them out, because that's how bricklayers actually go in and make those bricks through. It makes it believable. It makes your drawing believable. When you're dealing with bricks right in here on the front face or right in here, those are just going to line up and they're going to go straight across like so. These details are what's going to help bring out that sense of realism and depth and space into your piece.